Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy JT. I got Dub here with me. Together, we make up in the arena. Listen, before we get into anything, we need you guys to do one thing for us. Give us that Mercedes Benz treatment. What is that exactly? That's CLS, comment, like, subscribe. So, listen, Dub, it's crazy, man. We've been talking about it. I feel like we've been leading up to this for nearly 2 years at this point. Finally went down. Paul Fury. What are your thoughts on the fight?
Well, let's do this. Let's take a moment of silence for Jake Paul. Let's just hold up the L. Hey,
Hey,
like I said in
got your
the
hat.
short, like
Got
I
your
said,
hat.
like I said in the short, they are going to be on his ass this week. Hey,
Yeah.
listen, I was going for Paul because I wanted him not to catch a lot of flack from the media. I didn't want the social medias to be on his tail, but hey, he made the bed. Now he got to lay in it. But honestly, man, there were some key points that you could take away from the fight. That Jay Paul actually fought a decent opponent, a boxer, and he held his own. He held his
Yeah.
own. He knocked him down, once. He tabbed him a few times. We'll throw some highlights in the video so you all can see him. But for the most part, I mean, at the end of the day, it really wasn't a match at all. You can just tell the difference between the guys. I don't think Jake Paul is really conditioned enough for the fight because when you go to distance, man, I don't know if any of you all have been in any type of fight, street fights at all, but 45 seconds feel like a lifetime. A
For sure.
lifetime. So imagine being in that ring for round after round after round for 3 minutes. Like, you have to be well prepared and equipped to withstand that. So, with that being said, I give him a lot of credit for what he's done this far for the sport of boxing. I think he's bringing a lot of great attention to the sport. He's gotten me into the sport due to the trash talking and all that. I think it's great. But now he's 71 and he's holding that fat L. Again, I had Paul winning. I had him winning. So I digress. I'm gonna pass it over to you because you put your money on Fury.
Yeah, I told folks, put the money behind Fury. I thought it was disrespectful that he came into the fight as an underdog. I don't know what people were
I was a
thinking.
part of the disrespect.
Even the judges were mad biased throughout the fight. They kept saying it was close. Um, I I don't think the fight was ever really that close. I think if anything, Jake Paul is like an American, underdog story. Like, hey, he's not a boxer. He's getting in there. He's fighting these big scary guys, and so a lot of people want to see him win, right? But the fight wasn't close. Fury dominated. I think if he was fighting a more experienced fighter, it would have been a lot worse because they would have finished him. Whereas Fury is still young in his career, he's still learning. But I think he showed us that he's legit. He has really long arms. He was able to get really physical to really affect Jake Paul with the power punch. Jake Paul was really good with his jab, but when we look at the total punch count, when we just break it down, an average of 20 punches thrown, 6 punches landed for Paul over the course of the fight for each round, an average of 38 punches thrown for Fury and 11 punches landed. So when you go round by round, that's 5 more punches landed per round, and most of those were power punches. So I think that made it look like a dominant performance. I think if Paul doesn't knock Fury down, which a knockdown is a knockdown. He didn't slip; he knocked him down. If he didn't knock him down, it would have been a unanimous decision. The
Hey,
fight wasn't really close. The power was a sheer difference, and I think now Tommy Fury can continue to advocate for women's boxing, which he's been a great advocate for. He can continue to advocate for MMA fighters, and maybe he can go back after the rematch to fighting some MMA fighters and getting them some wins. But the rematch clause was only for if Tommy Fury won, so I'm sure that they're going to, enact that rematch clause. I'm sure that we're going to get another fight that's going to be competitive. But I think in that next fight, Tommy Fury is going to do what I thought he would do in this fight. He's going to put him on the mat and potentially knock Jake Paul out.
and back to your point about the number of punches thrown, you said Jake Paul threw more punches than Tommy Fury, correct?
I said Jake Paul didn't land as many punches. Fury landed more punches, so he landed on average 5 more punches per round
But he
than
threw but he threw less punches than Paul.
Total, he threw a lot more. Total punches, Fury threw 302, Paul threw 157. So he doubled him up on punches. Um, when it came to punches that were landed by Paul, he landed 49, Fury landed 88. So you can't
That
you have
wasn't
to
even
win a fight
close.
like
That wasn't even
that.
close.
Yeah.
That wasn't even close. That
Now,
should.
some of the punches that Paul landed were good punches. He has this sweeping overhand right that's a really good punch, and it's the same punch that knocked a few of those guys out in previous fights. When we think about Nate Robinson and him being out cold, when we think about Ben Askren and some of those guys, it was enough to knock those guys who are not boxers out. But Fury was just eating those. Realistically, he didn't look shaken, legs weren't wobble. He just ate them and got back to business. There was a lot of holding in the fight, which I didn't like. Some initiated by Fury, some initiated by Paul, but mostly by Paul. When Paul was getting hit with combinations, he would go to hold. And I think Paul's team did a great job preparing him, but he didn't have more than like 2 or 3 punch combinations. He couldn't do any more than that. And so Fury was hitting him with onslaughts, maybe 4 or 5 punches at a time, maybe landing 2 or 3. And Fury would just come with, Paul would just come with 2 or 3, and then it would be back to holding.
Mm. Hey, you heard it here first. Great
Yeah.
breakdown, JT. He's our boxing guy. Again, you all, like JT mentioned before, give us that CLS treatment, that comment, that like and subscribe. And again, thank you for watching in any arena. Until next episode.
Till next episode. And hey, yo, Jake, you lost Drake 400,000, boy.
The Drake curse lives. It lives.